Well, Fessy, your head of household was a disaster, but you can rest good on one thing. You got out who you wanted this week. No blind sides for you. Hello everyone, I'm DanTheMani. Well, as you may have noticed, I wasn't able to get this video up after the eviction. So, for this video, in addition to covering everything from last week, I'll also cover the nomination episode that aired on Sunday. That's a lot more to talk about than usual, so let's get right to it. As we saw last week, Fessy won the head of household, and if you notice they didn't give the elapsed time this time for that competition, that wasn't an accident. It was less than 20 minutes. I touched up on this last video, so I won't go too into it here, but basically, a lot of people were not happy. Live feed viewers were not happy and Endurance Comp was over so quickly, since watching those play out is one of the big appeals to getting the live feeds. After Dark was not happy because Endurance Comps bring in viewers, which doesn't work if the Endurance competition is over before After Dark begins airing. And CBS was not happy because Endurance Comps are meant to bring in new subscribers to All Access, which doesn't happen if the competition is over before people can finish creating an account. Leave it to Fessy to cause so much chaos, but as we saw, he was just getting started. Fessy won the head of household and had some near instant HOH-itis, as he decided someone was going to pay for last week. And by someone, he meant the only other ally he had besides Hayleigh, who was the one who voted to keep Rockstar. So Scotty became his #1 target. Was this motivated by Fessy being dense? By jealousy? My guess, yes and yes. But even more, it was thanks to JC. And a lot of Level 6 fans want to say that the Alliance saved themselves, but it was all JC who saved them. Hayleigh did try to talk Fessy out of his brilliant move to take out an ally other than people who've never done anything for him and don't work with him, because Fessy is a grade A player and nothing gets by him. Scotty cast a Hickey vote week 2. Clearly that means everything that goes wrong will be his fault from here on out. And that train of thought hasn't hurt anyone so far. Hi, Bayleigh. It should be noted that while Hayleigh did try to talk him out of it more than once, she was more passive than the editing suggested, and arguably could have been more assertive. But even so, Fessy was pretty much sold to go along with Hayleigh and not get rid of an ally, because that's a hard thing to talk people into apparently. But then, Hurricane JC came barreling through. JC decided he had to save Tyler and Angela from going up, and he went straight to work. His manipulation happened basically as the editing showed. He told Fessy Scotty had a crush on Hayleigh, which is not exactly an untruth, and he reassured Fessy Scotty was a shady person doing all the shady things that Fessy believed he was. And Fessy bought it because he believes anything JC says. Hayleigh was eventually more or less on board too, it seemed, in the feeds. Her DRs would imply maybe she wasn't completely sold on JC's pitch to get out Scotty. Don't know if that was editing or if she was not as sure as she seemed on the feeds, but either way, she backed down. Some are saying this cements JC as a brilliant player, to which I say, it depends on what you judge it by. Yes, he did expertly manipulate someone into going against his own best interest. Granted, that someone was Fessy, but he also got Hayleigh to at the very least give up trying to stop it, if not go to his side. The thing is, Angela and Tyler are most likely going to turn around and vote out JC once they've gotten rid of everyone in the Hive, if not before. So yeah, JC screwed over the one guy who actually had his back to help people who are using him, so he goes home sooner now. There is more to Big Brother than just manipulating people. JC has that part down pat, no argument there. He just can't do anything else that makes a good player, and mark my words, it's going to catch up with him sooner rather than later if things don't change. Either way, Scotty going up was not what the fans wanted. Well, fans of the Hive and good gameplay, fans of Level 6 love Fessy's plan, as well they should. And it seems production wasn't on board either. They held off nominations for hours later than usual. It seemed to most feedsters like they were waiting for Fessy to come to his senses. Good thing they eventually gave up on that, or we'd still be waiting for Fessy's nomination. Hayleigh did eventually tell Scotty to talk to Fessy and hinted he was in danger, as we saw. What we didn't see was that Big Brother called for the nominations not long after that talk. Not long at all. I guess Big Brother figured that was his best chance to come into his senses if Scotty was the last thing he heard, and they didn't give time for JC to come back up there. But as we saw, it didn't matter, and Scotty did go up. For the record, I'm not implying production was trying to help one person win, or didn't like Level 6 or anything, but keeping the sides somewhat closer in number increases the drama, so I think they weren't very thrilled that Fessy was eating his old alliance, and was going to get rid of someone the fans liked in such a stupid way. But either way, Scotty went up in what will go down as one of the dumbest nominations ever. By the way, it isn't the dumbest gameplay ever by any stretch of the imagination. I bring up Luan. Now I want to say, this was a dumb move. Granted, Fessy doesn't know what we do, but by the same time, we know who the real threats are, and there was a good chance once he won that at least by accident he was going to take out one of level 6. Most figured if he didn't, at least Sam would go home, so getting rid of Scotty, about the dumbest thing he could have done. Short of somehow being convinced to get rid of Hayleigh, but I don't think even he's that dense. But even so, I don't feel bad for Scotty. Scotty's made a lot of bad decisions, the biggest one being voting out Swaggy. Hiki votes are not good strategy. There's something superfans do when they get into the house to show off. There's very little time to risk outweighs the rewards, and this was not one of them. All it did was make his own alliance distrust him, and Scotty did try hard to gain their trust back. Heck, he spent the whole following head of household trying to gain their trust back. But he never fully could, because no matter what he did, he was still the guy who wore a Swaggy Seat t-shirt while voting him out and lying to his allies about it. And Scotty was being shady. He did flip-flop more than once. Heck, they didn't actually show it, but the week Rockstar went home, he was on board with level 6 until he talked to Hayleigh and eventually convinced her to go along with voting out Rockstar and going with the majority of the house. And he didn't exactly prove he wasn't shifty when he tried to get Hayleigh put up to save himself. Game moves, yes, but not a good way to show you are not shifty when that's why you're on the block. Scotty has made a lot of bad moves in this game, and they finally caught up to him. Fessy will regret it real soon. In fact, he does regret it. But Scotty would likely not be in this mess if he didn't decide to be shady multiple times when he's clearly not able to keep from getting caught. Scotty had a chance to save himself with the veto, however. Fessy did give him that opportunity. And it was the famous, or infamous, Zingbot's time to come into the house. I love some of his zings, although I think Hayleigh's real Greek tragedy was her alliance, not her head of household, and he forgot Angela also has no personality. But besides that, good zings, and well, besides Angela and Sam, a lot less nasty than last season. Likely because the cast as a whole is a lot more liked by the fans. Scotty gave it a good try with the veto and came close, but Brett played the competition perfectly and he got the win. A win he needed, not as much to get off the block as he likely would have stayed even if Scotty did win the veto, but Brett needs a competition win if he wants to win the game. I see a lot of shades of Dr. Will in Brett, for better or worse, but this isn't Season 2, and if he wants to win the game, he's going to need at least one comp win to hang his hat on. So Brett got that, and honestly, the way the season's going, I'm not sure he isn't now my pick to win. Only one thing bothered me. What was Brett's incriminating photo? How could they just leave that unresolved? I still haven't slept since that night. So obviously, Brett was not going to use it to save Scotty, although with this cast nothing would surprise me anymore, but barring insanity, Brett wasn't going to use his veto to save Scotty, so Scotty started his plan B. Now trying to get Sam on the block was not a bad idea, as while it was a long shot she would go, she was the only one who had any chance of going home against Scotty. And Fessy might have done it, although probably not as he knew it might have saved Scotty, but he tried too hard with telling Fessy he should put up Hayleigh. He told Julie he was hoping doing that would get him to want to break the perceived pairing of Sam and Scotty and get him to put Sam on the block, but it was a bad move as all it did was confirm to Fessy that Scotty was shady because, well, he was being pretty shady. Kaycee went up as a pawn, and Scotty was doomed. He talked about trying to blow up the house in his finale plea, but for once someone decided to leave like an adult, and he didn't, and he was voted out unanimously, the first time this season. Well, for once Fessy wasn't blindsided. Hope he enjoyed his feeling proud of himself. It definitely didn't last long. But was Scotty the right choice? Well, for level 6 he obviously was, since the alternative was taking out one of their own. For Sam, Hayleigh, and JC, no. Hayleigh knew that, but ultimately gave Fessy what he wanted, especially since Scotty gave her his blessing. But what Sam, JC, and Hayleigh should have done is vote out Kaycee and have Fessy break the tie to send her home. Because as we know, they kept level 6 strong with that move and helped move themselves even closer to the jury house by getting out Scotty. People pick on the Hive for not seeing what's going on with level 6, but it should be noted JC, Sam, and Scotty weren't able to figure it out either, and they spend more time with the level 6 members than the Hive did. It is called a secret alliance for a reason. I guess here's as good a place as any to mention Fessy and Hayleigh's alliance they made with Tyler and Angela. In short, I never bought it for a second as the editing showed. It was smart for Angela and Tyler to agree to it. If Hayleigh had one that had a household, the odds of any more lucky breaks are slim. Although given how the Hive's been playing, would not put it past Hay to go after Sam. Not that I would blame her, Sam did imply she was a whore all the way back, and is still doing that behind her back, but it would have been a bad game move. So Hayleigh would almost surely put up level 6 member, or at least JC. So agreeing to work with them helps ensure it isn't Angela or Tyler, but as we saw, the first chance they got, they took out Fessy and Hayleigh. Or rather, are going to, barring America. And so, with Fessy's head of household reign mercifully over and the lunacy stopped, it was time for the head of household competition. And as we saw, Angela stepped up and won it for her team, even though she didn't truly want to. As you might have guessed, this competition, by all accounts, was supposed to make up for the blunder of the last endurance competition by giving the live feeders something to watch and giving people a chance to join All Access. But it didn't work out that way once again, because either by technical difficulties or maybe someone just fell asleep, the feeds didn't come on until the competition was over. If Big Brother didn't have bad luck, they would have no luck at all. And while Fessy, as always, was blissfully oblivious to how much trouble he was in, he and Hayleigh's days were most definitely numbered. The editing made it seem like Angela was considering putting up Sam, but while they tried to feed JC as the puppet master narrative by making it look like he talked her into going ahead with putting up Hayleigh and Fessal, I don't buy it. Based on all the conversations I heard Angela have on the live feeds with everyone, including Tyler, I don't think she was ever seriously considering putting Sam on the block. Yeah, I'm sure with all the time she had to think about it, it did cross her mind, but she seemed on board with putting Fessy and Hayleigh most, if not the entire time. JC suggested to her to do something she was clearly always planning to do. So nominations rolled around, and to no one's surprise, except Fessal, but hey, what else is new? The real shock would have been if he actually saw something coming for once. Fessy and Hayleigh went on the block together. Angela applauded her nomination speech, so I expected another uber bitch moment, but I will admit she handled that one pretty well. She explained why she got them up, and while it probably made them feel a little stupid, she was direct with her logic, and didn't really give them anything they could argue with. They were just hoping she hadn't figured any of that out, which she obviously did. I assume Fessy is gone come eviction night if he doesn't win the veto. It could be argued Hayleigh's the braid, so she should go first, but Fessal's a comp beast and could very well win the next head of household if he stays. And while who knows with that clown, he would most likely put up Tyler and Angela for sure now, and if not, he'd still put up someone from level 6 unless he somehow decided to put up Sam. Seems highly unlikely after everything that happened at this point, but again, who knows with that clown. The same's true if Hayleigh stays. She could potentially win the head of household, but her chances of winning head of household are worse, so she's the better gamble for them to keep up. Now obviously next week could throw a monkey wrench in their plan because it's guaranteed that someone from the Hive will come back in, and barring Fessy staying and Scotty winning the battle back, whoever it is will gravitate towards the last Hive member left after this week. I'm honestly not sure Scotty and Fessal wouldn't still work together if he came back in and Fessal stayed, because there aren't that many other good choices. But barring the battle back winner, whoever between Fessy and Hayleigh survives this week winning the next head of household, I have little doubt the battle back winner and the survivor will be sitting on the block together next week. Although if one of them does win head of household next week, then it could be a real game changer. Either way, I'll be back after the nomination episode for my thoughts on the veto competition, the eviction, the battle back, and whatever other crazy stuff happens. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell for notifications. I'm Dan the Man, and I'll see you next time.